Okay, good evening. This is our regular meeting of the Newfane Selectboard. It is Monday, February 18th at 6 p.m. and we're at the Newfane Town Office. We have Mike Fitzpatrick, Chris Williams, Gary Delius on the phone, myself, I'm Marion Dowling. Shelley Huber is not here yet and hopefully she'll arrive. We have Shannon Meckel, Administrative Assistant, and we have Juanetta Powling, who is joining us. So we will start with asking, are there any amendments or additions to the agenda tonight? Okay, no. So the next item on the agenda is to approve the February 4th regular meeting.
As I read the February 4th meeting notes, I don't see my name listed as being present, but I was pretty sure I was on the phone call. Because I remember Emily and Joe I created.
Yeah, I don't, do we have the minutes?
I don't have
We don't have the minutes.
Oh, you don't have copies?
No.
I emailed them, that's why.
Oh, and my printer doesn't work, so. Okay, but Gary,
All right, so we'll add Gary.
yes, Gary, you were there.
Okay,
Thank you.
motion to amend, including Gary Delius and members present.
it. Second it.
Okay, Mike seconds. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of accepting, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? No. So the ayes have it, and we approve the February 4th minutes.
As amended.
As amended, thank you. Okay, next item is the road foreman's and the road commissioner's report. And that will be Jay, please.
We've had a lot of water running out in the blacktop in spots all over town. This has required a lot of work to get the ice off the blacktop. The rain has caused an awful lot of problems in the last month or two. Week ago Saturday, I think we were in most of Saturday just scraping ice off blacktop where it had been running across. So. I'll be increasing the contents insurance on the garage. It was found to be very low. We did kind of a quick, Shannon sent the response from the insurance company, and they had $10,000 for all our tools and our parts and all that stuff, and we felt it was way under. So I'll be calling them and trying to get a more reasonable figure set. I have the scope of work for the repairs on Hunter Brook Road, which I just gave Shannon. I thought Juanetta may want to get this ready to go out to bid while Shannon's still here. It doesn't need to get sent out yet, but at least it could be all ready. That would give her a chance to try one and go through it. We have a site for the town radio repeater on Newfane Hill, and radio repair is working on the licensing from the FCC. So hopefully, well, it'll have to wait till the weather's nice anyways, but once it's nice, we should be able to put that up. All the guys are signed up for the flagging class on the 26th in Wyndham. We're supposed to keep a current flagger class, so when we're in the road directing traffic. And the new truck is having the body and equipment mounted, and they're ready for us to go up and tell them where we want some things mounted. So that's all I got.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
I got one addition to that.
Yes, please.
The men went out with the grader part of one night when the ground was beginning to freeze back up and smoothed off a lot of the roads that were so very ruddy. So when they froze again, it made it easier for the crew to plow.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any other things to say about this? Okay, okay, motion to accept. Second? I'll second.
I'll second that.
Okay, Gary, thank you. Any further discussion from anybody about the road foreman and road commissioner's report? Okay, all those in favor of accepting the report, please say aye.
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 Okay, any opposed, say nay. Okay, the report passes. Okay, next item on the agenda is administrative assistance report, and that is Shannon, please.
Let's see. The town reports are due back here by Wednesday, so they will be mailed out no later than Friday morning. And Jay, if you could help me get them over there, that'd be great. I'm working on a manual for Juanetta to use when she takes over. So I'll just kind of break it down by stuff that gets done once a year or once a month, daily, that kind of stuff. So hopefully that will help. And I'll be getting her set up for the organizational meeting, which will happen right after town meeting, I think that Thursday. So she'll have her list of appointments and other information that she'll need for that. And I have Juanetta signed up for the Select Board Institute on March 30th. Any Select Board members that want to go to that, if you just let me know, I'll sign you up. I think it's in Rutland this year. Yeah, so it's not as far away this year as it
Where is
normally
it?
Rutland.
Oh, in Rutland.
Yep. And I'll also call the new member coming in to see if she wants to attend as
Okay,
well.
great.
And then Juanetta and I filled out the grant application for the fire alarm at Williamsville Hall today. And if we can just get Marion to sign that tonight, we can send it in. And that'll pay for 50% of the cost of the fire
Oh,
alarm.
that's great. So is our organizational meeting definitely on the day after the town meeting on the 6th?
No, it'll be that Thursday.
Oh, the Thursday.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's the organizational meeting. And that'll be at 6 o'clock. Do we all know this?
I guess so.
Now we know.
Yeah.
We know now.
New members have to be sworn in
Right,
before
before
the
that.
meeting. Yeah.
Yes,
Although she'll still be here, so she.
that we'll do
if
with Carol,
yeah.
right?
If they just come in a
Good.
few minutes early, she can swear them in first.
Okay. Can you make a note of that, Juanetta, please? Thank you. Let me see, I'm going to ask you something. Oh, with the town reports, that's always a busy time for about a day and a half with helping to label. So I said I can come in if anybody else can come
Yeah,
in.
that'd be great.
Anybody want to come in and help
If
label?
anybody wants to haul boxes and.
Yeah, that I can't do, I can't lift it, but I can certainly
I'm not sure I can
label.
this year either, so
No.
we'll get somebody to,
We need somebody strong.
we do, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Can we please
Make
have a
motion
motion to
second.
accept? Okay.
Second.
Second. Any other further discussion? Gary, do you have anything to say or add or question?
No?
Okay, all in favor of accepting the report, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nay. So the administrative assistance report appears to have passed. Thank you very much, Shannon, for everything. And probably this is a good time to introduce Juanetta to the public. Even though I did introduce her before, I think that Juanetta's actually on her first day already starting to do work. And we thank you very much, and we're very happy to see you here.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, Shannon, for being available to train her. Okay, let's see. We are now up to unscheduled members of the public. And there's no one here. We are now ready for the scheduled members of the public,
Over here.
and nobody is here. Now, we have new business, traffic ordinance amendment. And Shelley is not here.
No, this is
Something about.
This is
yield
on the
signs.
speed.
Should we wait?
putting the stop sign in Williamsville. We have to amend the ordinance to put the stop sign at the Smith Bridge.
Oh, the ordinance amendment, not this. Okay, I apologize. Okay. Do you want to talk about it?
I don't know a lot about it. I do know we have to have a hearing on it.
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you want to amend an ordinance, you have to vote on the amendment that you want to make, which is to switch the section in the arch bridge from a yield sign to a stop sign. Once you've voted to do that amendment, you have to post copies of the amendment in 5 places around town. Even though we only have 4 posting places, we'll have to find a 5th one, that's fine. It has to stay up, and it has to go in the newspaper no later than 14 days from the day that you decide to amend. And then from there, the town has 45 days, meaning the voters have 45 days to petition the town. It is 44, but I think it's this day, it counts as the 45th. So they could get a petition together to have you not change the ordinance. If they do that, then you have to have a special town meeting. If they don't, then it becomes effective 60 days from the date that you decide to amend the ordinance.
The one thing about this is when they put the new bridge in, that's already in to be there. And the new bridge is installed,
Right.
so it's gonna be there anyway.
So then you just won't have to change the ordinance. then.
Right.
It'll already be done.
So that was a state mandate.
The other thing is, anytime we go to a special town meeting, there's a sizable unbudgeted expense that the town has to incur to hold that meeting. So we just need to be conscious of that.
Thank you, Gary.
Because there used to be a stop sign there, right? So why did it ever change on them?
It was stopped, then it went to yield.
Yeah, every time they changed it, we had to go through this process. It was,
Yeah, because some of
so,
the
yeah.
people didn't want to slow down, didn't like to stop. The ones that go through the stop sign, the yield sign all the time, they didn't want a stop sign there.
So what I'm hearing is what Chris said, that when the arch bridge is being redone, this will be taken care of anyway? Is that correct? That's part of the plan?
But we have to change the ordinance, I believe, even though,
regardless, yeah.
even
you're gonna
though,
change
but the
the
state
sign.
said it has to be there, so.
Right, you're
Okay.
still gonna have to change the ordinance.
Okay.
either way.
And that's supposed to happen next year, where they,
No,
or is it
No.
2020,
Well,
21,
21.
Yeah,
21?
maybe,
Okay.
we'll see.
And so, right now, this is something that's come up because people want this changed at this time, rather than waiting, is that correct?
There's been several fender vendors there, more than I've seen in previous years. And that's why we thought maybe if those people stopped, it would help until they get the bridge changed. And you know, I think it'll be a better intersection once the bridge is changed. It'll be wider, but
Almost seems like on that though, when they changed it, it's supposed to be one on the bridge too, right?
yeah,
It's almost like a 3-way then, right?
three-way stop.
So do we put the ordinance in for that now?
no,
I don't think you can yet, because there's nowhere to go.
there ain't no way to put one in there. Always to put everything in.
Hmm.
So are we supposed to be voting to vote to have this amendment? I'm not clear on the procedure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're
Yes,
gonna,
yes.
if you're going
We're
to
gonna-
amend it, you have to
We have
vote.
to-
And we do that tonight?
Yeah,
Yeah, unless
If we
you're not
want.
ready to, but.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just wondering if it's gonna be a 3-way eventually, would you do the whole thing now? At least you had to be all in there.
I thought the guy said you couldn't do a 3-way there, because you'd have to stop at the beginning of the bridge and then go to the end of the bridge and stop again. I almost think he said not to put a stop sign there.
What I read, I thought it was a three-way stop, but I almost went to it.
I'd have to go back and.
we'll have time to do that afterwards.
Yeah, I would wait on that, I think, and then just do this one for now.
So you want to
Just
still
do it,
vote
just-
on an amendment
Yes,
to change from a yield to a stop?
yes,
Yes, okay. So does that need a motion?
yes.
I'll
Would
make
you
a
like to
motion
make
to do that.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? Gary, do you have anything? There's been a motion to vote on this amendment.
I have nothing in front of me, so I don't really know what I'm voting on. So I'm going to abstain from voting because I don't know what it is.
At the Arch Bridge in Williamsville, coming from Grimes Hill, you got a stop sign. Coming from Dover Way, you got a yield sign. And they want to make that a stop from the Dover side too. Because people keep getting run into right there because the guy's coming across the bridge. So,
I guess I don't understand what, I know what it is, Mike. I just don't understand what the ordinance is about, and why we have to change an ordinance just for one stop sign.
Because it's listed in the traffic ordinance as a yield sign in that spot.
Can you
an
say that again?
It's listed in the traffic ordinance in that location as a yield sign. So in order to
Right.
change it to a stop sign, it has to be amended in the ordinance.
Okay. Did you hear that, Gary?
Yes, I would recommend that in the future for these things, the boilerplate of the ordinance is you must follow the conditions of the signs listed below. And put that on the attachment to the ordinances, so you don't have to go back through and vote it every time.
You can't.
You just add and remove things as you need to.
It just is what it is.
Because changing an ordinance, as you have already heard, is quite a process.
Yes, it is. I'm
all right.
just getting to learn this tonight. I have no idea.
Carry on.
Well, I don't care how we do it, as long as, I mean, I almost think I was on the board when they took the stop sign down. I don't remember having to change ordinances, and we just told them to put a yield sign
No,
on.
that was back in the Joe Mantel, Pete Reese, Untitled board did that.
I could have sworn I was here when they took that yield sign.
Because it was one of them that got stopped for not stopping, and they made us take the stop sign back out and put the yield sign back in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted, as I said, did they do this whole thing? That whole process done?
Yep, both times that they changed it, we had to go through this.
Yeah.
It's really not, I mean, the chances of somebody, it's 5% of the voters that have to petition to not change it. So really the likelihood of that happening is very low. So it's really just a matter of posting it and putting it in the newspaper and then waiting it out. So it's not like it's a hard process, it's just,
So if we vote to do this tonight, to
Yeah.
have an amendment, does the clock start ticking tonight?
so then they have 44 days from today to petition the town not to do it. If they petition the town, then you'd have to have a special town meeting. If they don't petition the town, the clock just ticks, and then in 60 days it's effective and you can change the sign.
Okay.
Yeah, just go ahead and do it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it comes to the part they petition, we gotta do all that other shit, we'll just say the hell with it, keep the yield.
Right, exactly.
It'll be a free-for-all.
But I don't think so.
Okay. So I think we're ready to vote.
Yeah.
All those in favor of to vote on changing
The ordinance.
the ordinance, please say aye.
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 I,
Okay.
I'll change my abstention,
Okay.
since it was explained to me.
Okay, great, thank you. Any opposed? No? So it appears that the motion has passed to vote on the amendment. Thank you. And thank you very much for the two of you explaining what this is, because I was with Gary, I did not understand it at all. Okay, the next item under new business is a report on the town meeting workshop. And I asked that be put on, just to give a quick report right now, that I went up to Montpelier for the, it's called Town Meeting Workshop. It's called the, excuse me for a minute, it's called the Town Meeting Tune-Up for 2019, and given by the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. I'm not a town moderator, but given that I'm on the select board, I wanted to hear about this. And Debbie Luskin was there. Actually, Bob Backus was there too. He was the town moderator for Wardsboro. So that was nice to see him. And I have to say that it was a very eye-opening workshop for me. I learned a lot, and I just can't believe how much moderators have to learn for one day a year. All of this is just unbelievable. Very, very, very strict following of the Robert's Rules of Order. And even though we don't follow to the degree that they do, I learned a lot about what we as select board can and not do, at least at that meeting and certainly with our own meetings. So I spoke to Shannon about it, and we all on select board have a meeting the night before town meeting day. And so I made some notes, and I'll just share that with you as we're preparing. We don't have to go into it tonight.
That's what that meeting that night for, is just
To get organized for the
right,
town meeting.
right, correct.
So I asked Shannon if I could, give a little report, not a little report, but just some notes about things that we need to pay attention to on town meeting day. It won't be anything more than that. Okay? So that's my report for now. Thank you. Any questions about that? Okay. We're up to old business, and that is school land discussion.
So it's completely up to the board. I received a letter back from our attorney, which is marked attorney-client privilege communication, but it's not like we've really made any secret about what we've been talking about with the school land. Okay. So if you're comfortable talking about it in open session, I'll just give you the letter. Otherwise, you can go into executive session, but I don't really...
Do you want to read the letter?
No, it's gotta be an executive session.
Oh, no, she's saying it might not have to be. Did you say it might not have to be?
It's really up to the board.
Okay.
You've been discussing it in public this whole time. It's up to you. I don't see anything in it that really needs to be in executive session. It's just that it is marked attorney-client privilege, but that's fine. That just means he won't share it. So I don't see anything in it that tells me you shouldn't talk about it in open session.
Okay. So I should read this now?
Yep.
Okay. It's a long letter. Okay. Hi.
Skip one.
What? Okay, so this is a letter written by Rich Carroll, the attorney in Brattleboro who represents our town of Newfane. And it's an attorney-client privilege communication. And it's regarding the question about parcel of land next to school and leased to solar power company. And as Shannon said, we've been discussing this in open meetings for quite a while now. Dear Select Board members, we were asked for our opinion as to whether the Newfane Town School District, the quote, school district, could convey one of the two parcels of land which it owns to the town of Newfane prior to June 30th, 2019, without violating the obligations of the school district with respect to the unified school district and the articles that were approved by the school district voters. It is our opinion that the school district cannot convey one of those two parcels back to the town prior to the conveyance of the remaining piece of the unified district. I think the school district has already committed to conveying its real estate to the Union School District by virtues of the terms of the articles approved by the voters and the creation of the unified school district. I offer some background, even though many of you know it already, to explain our response. At the time that the school merger proposal was up for a vote, the school district owned two parcels of land. The original parcel was acquired in 1962 and includes the actual school building. The second parcel was acquired in 2006, and it is located primarily to the east and the north of the first piece and includes at least a portion of the school's athletic fields. In October 2009, the school district agreed to a joint school board with the Brookline Town School District. Under the terms of that joint agreement, each of the two districts would continue to own the real property that each owned prior to the joint agreement, and any assets acquired by the joint school board would be disposed of in a manner consistent with the assessment allocation under the joint agreement. On March 7, 2017, the voters of Newfane and Brookline both approved the articles to create a unified school district. This proposal included language committing the town school districts to convey to the Union School District, parentheses, USD, quote, all of their school-related real and personal property, including all land, end of quote. In light of the rest of the proposal's language, it is clear that a parcel of land owned by the school district, which is used for school purposes, would be, quote, school-related. Thus, it must be conveyed to the USD, the United School District. There was, however, the question of whether the June 30th, 2019 deadline included in the proposal would give leeway for the school district to convey the parcel before that deadline. The answer to this, unfortunately, is no. As soon as the Secretary of Education certified the results of the vote to merge, the USD came into existence. The USD has an equitable interest in all of the real property the town school district owns as the moment it began to exist. The deadline is merely there to allow for the town districts to take care of any formalities required to perform the transfer. A related question we looked at was whether the interest in the lease contract with the solar power company could be conveyed to the towns of Newfane and Brookline so that the lease income from that contract would flow to and benefit those two towns instead of the USF. I do not believe the joint school district could assign its interest in that lease to the two towns. The solar panel lease contract was signed in August of 2015. It includes an annual lease payment to the joint school district, beginning when the panels are operational and continuing for 20 years. This solar panel lease agreement was in place prior to the vote on the USD. There is no mention of that agreement that I could find in the paperwork and articles that were approved by the voters on the USD. Specifically, there is no exclusion of that contract from the assets to be conveyed, and the language in Article 7 is pretty clear in stating that of all the real and personal properties of the USD districts is to be conveyed to the USD. That article, along with Article 6, makes pretty clear that the USD is assuming all assets and also assuming all capital debts and deficits. The deal in the plan is fairly clear. The USD takes on all the town district's burdens in exchange for receiving all the benefits. In short, the good and the bad are all to go to the USD. I do not think the solar panel lease can be assigned back to the towns while the real property is conveyed to the USD. It would be like conveying an apartment house to a buyer but retaining the rights to collect rents from one of the apartments for the next 20 years. the school district would be attempting to convey real property which is encumbered on a 20-year lease. It appears from what we have reviewed, the school district is already committed to convey its assets to the USD. I believe that the school district were to transfer either parcel or the interest in the profits from the panels to the town of Newfane, that action would almost certainly be challenged by the USD. I believe if it were challenged, the USD would likely prevail. Please feel free to contact me should you have any questions or concerns. Sincerely, Richard Carroll, Esquire.
So the other part, though, is that something that we had talked about with the school district, if they decided that they wanted to convey the property or a portion of that property back to the town, they could do that for $1.
If we
That's in that
chose to.
contract.
If
Yeah.
it ceases to be a school.
Right,
If they don't want to use it as an educational
Right.
That's
entity.
right.
Yeah.
So in those articles that he's talking about, it says if it ever ceases to be an educational facility, like they close the school down, it will automatically be conveyed back to the town for
Right.
$1.
Right, but even so, if there's a portion of that property that they would want to get rid of because they're not using it for educational
Then
pursuits,
that has to be,
then
to the town.
that would be a possibility too.
yeah.
So, but it sounds very convoluted as far as the solar panel contract and the property that those solar panels sit on.
well, according
They'd like
to
it.
this, it sounds, I mean, I think he's making it very clear that it's totally going to the school, United School District. And
Yeah,
it doesn't
that's
sound
fine.
convoluted at all. It's
No.
like, this is how it's gonna be.
No, what I'm saying, Marion, is that it is going to go to the school. But in the future, should the school decide that they don't want all that property, they can make,
Right.
they could sell it to anybody. They could sell it to the town, they could sell it to the neighbors, they could sell it to a developer, you know. So, I mean, as far as there's a portion of that property that maybe they don't want to retain.
I would guess that the town would have right of first refusal if that ever did happen. Is that correct?
I don't think
I don't know
that's-
if it's written in there.
All I know is it says if it ceases to be
Not
used
spelled out
for
in the language.
educational purposes.
There is a right of first refusal.
There is a right.
Is there?
No, it has to be spelled out.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm
Right.
trying to say.
Right.
It's spelled out in those articles that if it ceases to be used as educational purposes, it goes back to the
Right,
town.
exactly.
So I don't believe they have a right to just sell it to anybody.
Right, I
No,
don't think
I
so
don't.
either. I think it's
Oh, and it goes
understood.
right back to the town.
Yes, it says it goes right back to the town.
Yeah.
So it said something about any assets and debt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So the loans they borrowed to repair that thing,
that all goes to the Unified District.
so that comes off our budgets.
The good, bad, and the ugly is
yeah, that's
gone.
what he said.
Yeah.
But supposedly it's all paid for anyway, they told us that night.
At this point.
And, you know, just like Brookline, they had no assets to even bring up because they turned their school back to the town.
Right.
In short, the good and the bad are all to go to the USD.
They did tell us about the property in Newfane that there's a lot of facility maintenance needed in the building structurally, so.
That's
Well,
what
that
they
will be
said.
taken
That's what
care
they-
of by the school district.
Right,
Yeah.
but they did an assessment of all the properties
Right.
that they were taking in.
They
Right,
also did say that the town should be getting paid for plowing that too. I mean,
Right,
Well, I think they said they were gonna hire somebody to plow, right? Right.
yeah, because they own it, they would have to have a contract for maintenance, repairs, all that kind of stuff.
I don't know, I just think it's still a shady deal, you know, the way it all went down. I mean, like I said, obviously Brookline's smart enough to know to give their school back to the town. You know, why didn't our school board give that hunk of land back to the town? Other towns did, you know?
Yeah,
They shouldn't have been told to do that, they should have done that on their own.
You know, it's just like these guys on that lease. I mean, like I said, we signed this thing for the lease thing through the school, through the town of Newfane, 2015.
Right,
You know, and then all of a sudden these guys get their name on the lease,
right.
which they haven't even taken effect yet till July.
But they assumed, based on it said that as soon as they assumed that unified, modified, whatever school
Oh,
district,
right, yeah.
Everything goes.
went,
Yes,
was assumed.
yeah.
And then if we have any questions regarding any recreational use or use on that property, we have to deal with the building principal.
The principal,
And they're
right.
coming up with across-the-board type of building policies.
Well, that also, I think they said we have to, that's up to June 30th. We talked to the principal, then we don't know what's gonna happen, didn't he say that? Yeah, he said that.
I understood it as their
As of July 1st, we don't know what's gonna happen, but he said up until then, if we need to know if the public can use the school property for recreation and everything, we have to talk to the principal.
Right.
Gary, you have any thoughts or comments to make, please?
Well, I'm a little confused as to why, I mean, this is a town recreation area, and I see, of course, the importance of having the kids be able to use it as a priority. But during off hours, I don't think that it's really relevant for the principal to come in and people have to contact the principal directly in order to be able to go down and play a game of basketball.
All right.
That's what they told us. It had
Yeah.
to go, it had to go, you had to contact the principal there.
Right, we have to do that. The principal will be the one to tell people what is allowed and not allowed.
I don't think the voters really like that kind of approach. I think that if you have students in the school system, that's one thing. But if you're just like me and Mike and Chris, and we want to go after a meeting and do a pickup game of basketball because Shelley's not available to referee, it seems crazy that we would have to contact the school principal.
I used to play basketball.
Yeah, well, did you play basketball?
Not a lot of years.
Okay, good. That means that Chris, Michael, and I have a chance. Anyway,
Pass
it
it.
does seem odd that, let's say an adult such as ourselves, who belongs to the past majority and are no longer in the school system, ought to be able to go on town property somewhere and recreate. We have no place for our citizens to recreate except for the school. We provide no recreation facilities whatsoever. So I think we have to consider whether in the future, if we want people to if we want to attract people to Newfane, we gotta have places for people to be able to recreate. And if the school's not going to provide it, well, we have to think about someone who will. Like,
Well, right now,
the
Gary.
the other taxpayers may have to then go together and buy a piece of land and put together a recreation facility.
I've
It's not
no
like we've got a lot of property.
Yeah, there's a lot of property that's available that we've been looking at through the planning department commission to
Well, I
do.
kind of hope by
pocket
stirring
parks.
us up a little bit, maybe at town meeting this year instead of a 15-minute school board meeting, maybe if somebody bring up some of these questions. Then I think if they do start complaining more about it, if you see it through the whole town, then we pursue it a lot better. I mean, I'm not willing just to back down and give them the land, you know, no matter what, you know, I mean,
Well, I think
you got
we're,
Stowe and all them guys still fighting them.
yeah, originally I think what we were talking about was that someone had gone on the property and they were told not to be on the property.
I've heard that.
And, you know, and it was a kid that was trying to play on the playground. So, you know, there is you know, it's going to be difficult, like, you know.
I remember
we
a
said.
few years ago, people that I know came up and they had children with them and they went down and played basketball. And it was totally permissible. So I was very surprised recently when I heard.
Well, that's just rumors.
No, but
Yeah.
even if it's not rumor, if it's a fact, I'm still surprised. I
Yeah.
mean, it's town school, town property. I know that there was a tennis field made up, a tennis court rather, made up at Leland and Grace several years ago, and that was made very clear that anybody could go on that
Yeah,
court.
yeah.
It was open to the public.
Right,
And I
right.
assume that that's
was-
still the case.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, like I said, let's see what happens at town meeting. Maybe somebody bring it up and they'll start complaining about it. If it is, we'll go after it more. The way I look at it, you know.
Yeah.
Well, if there's enough pressure, maybe what would happen is that they would decide not to have that property that was added on to from the little Lions purchase. You know, if they decide not to be, to manage that, maybe they would give it to the town.
Well, that'd be the way it should be, but I don't think it will. But
Yeah.
once they get their hands into it, they're gonna hold on to it.
Well, I would like to say that I'm appreciative that, Shannon, that you contacted Rich Carroll and that he did respond to us. And it's important that we put this letter in a safe file to have to review. And in the meantime, we can still continue to have our own discussions and see what we can do as a board, you know, up until June 30th. But I do appreciate that Rich Carroll responded and made it very clear in his description of what is happening right now.
Well, can we make a motion like, you know, Michael has suggested that we bring it up at the town meeting?
Well,
For
let me
discussion?
ju-
Well,
We
like I
meaning the
said-
select board?
Well, like I said, I think that we've said enough about, quite a lot about it here the last few meetings.
Mm-hmm.
People watching it, you know, a lot of people didn't realize that it was all going, I don't think, like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, maybe this year somebody bring it up at the town meeting instead of just I mean, last year there was no questions asked. I mean, there was somebody asked, they did bring it up about the solar field. And they told them, oh yeah, it's all going through and we're gonna be getting $26,000 a year out of it, so on, so on, so on, you know? That was it. School board meeting was over, you know, like that.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't say that it was going to the districts. They didn't say it was doing all this. It was all, we were gonna lose it, you know? And a lot of people I've talked to didn't realize that was the case, you know? So I hope by what we've talked about and people seeing it on the TV,
Well,
you
I
know,
think
maybe it's stirred up enough, so maybe someone asked some questions this year at town meeting about it.
it would be good if people from the public who come to the meeting, town meeting, will bring it up. Because, as I said before you came, I have a little report to give when we're talking about preparing for town meeting, the night before town meeting, from things that I learned at the, in Montpelier, and so we can address that then in terms of that. But in the meantime, anybody in the public who's watching who has a thought or concern about this, please come to town meeting, and come to town meeting anyway. It's very important that we get the public to come. Thank you. Okay. We're up to correspondence.
All this.
Okay. Oh, where was this? It's not on the agenda.
Well, it was part of,
It's not on the agenda.
yeah, I was gonna stick it in with the traffic ordinance because it's all traffic. But we already did that. We can go back to it.
Okay. All right. So we will go back under new business, under traffic ordinance amendment. We are going to add in a letter that was sent to the Newfane Selectboard and Road Commission about a meeting that was held in Williamsville yesterday, or the day before, and you were there?
Yeah.
Would you like to report on that?
Well, did you read the letter?
Yeah, we read.
Okay. Just that, if you mentioned all the different points.
No, we didn't read it aloud. We read it to ourselves.
Oh, okay,
To
okay.
ourselves before.
We've had the audit done by the state for the whole area. And there are highlights of, working on changing the signage into the more modern signage. And there are different signs that are on short posts or not at the correct height. It was a pretty comprehensive audit, and we really appreciate Jay taking the initiative to contact them and have this fantastic report done. So this has been going on for a year, but it's also been going on since 1995 with a report done back in 1995 regarding the traffic calming and concerns in Williamsville, South Newfane, and Brookside. And that's that whole route all the way through on Dover Road. So, people are pretty upset about it that have been on the committee, who live in that area. They're happy to see progress, but again, there was a survey done in 1995, and some things had been done, but there's a new survey, and the committee, it's not really a committee, it's a group of concerned citizens, and they would like to continue working actively to make the adjustments with the signage that's recommended, and also narrowing the roadway, and making the villages more of a village with gateway signing, lateral signing they call it, which is putting the speed limit onto the pavement, which is what Jay has talked about doing. So, I feel Jay is probably on top of what needs to be done, and making...
At least the beginning part of it, the
Yeah.
painting of the signs and the painting of
Yeah.
the stop marks and stuff. Yeah.
So the next point would be probably, looking at our budget, which is probably only will only qualify for, replacing some of the signage. But then the next level is to write grants that will help with making those villages more of a village center. And they've been designated as village centers. And there's funding through the state of Vermont to enhance that for the residents that are living in that area. And I just found out back out in Brookside, there's 3 new families with young children that live, bought property right along that road. So, we're thankful that there are people that are taking up some of these homes that are, purchasing these homes that have been vacant for a while. And there was a big concern about the property values and going down, or people not wanting to live right alongside that roadway. I think it takes us to make a plan and to actually put it into place, not just look at the study, but to actually say, okay, this is January, February, March. What are we going to do in each of these months to get to, to facilitate this? Action is really needed at this point, and I really feel terrible that these people have had to live for all these years with this traffic that's speeding by, and we're so fortunate that no one has been hit and injured or killed. I had a friend in Brattleboro who walked across a Western Avenue and she was killed, and that was the start of them down there changing their sidewalk, pedestrian walkways, and signage. And because they've had more than one individual that was killed or hurt badly in Brattleboro area. And that roadway, we all know that is a gateway to Mount Snow, And, just, I'm committed to helping make the traffic calmer and more safe, the communities more safe. It's not only in that area, but there's also South Newfane, which is another roadway that has had a lot of issues. But right off the bat, I think we have 2 radar signs, right, that are posted. And I think there's a need for one additional one that would be more of a permanent fix, maybe for South Newfane or Woodsboro Road.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was on Dover Road, they suggested the one coming into Wings will be a permanent one. The one thing we have to remember for this year is the state sent out a thing, it used to be optional putting the white lines on the side of the road.
Uh-huh.
They now, if we don't do it, we have to have a really good reason not to.
Yeah.
Because so many of the cars have the,
Oh, that new thing where,
right. So they need to be redone this year. They were done 2 years ago, I think. We're
yeah.
gonna have to save money enough to redo those lines too.
Or write a grant. I think there's probably some grants available through V-Trans and other.
I doubt for just striping there would be, but for other stuff there may be.
Yeah. I think as a select board, we need to make a commitment to actually do some of these things and make sure they get done and that we're moving forward on them. And then if the painted areas, I saw back in 1995, they had done some painting on the pavement, but it was never repainted, And I know, down on the roundabout in Brattleboro, those painted lines have really helped to get people around that roundabout. But once the lines, they wear off, and then you're back to, craziness. But it really all does work. And so that's really all that I have to say.
Excuse me. There's one thing here that somebody put on here. They suggest to put a stop sign at Parish Hill Bridge. There is one there.
Which one is Parish Hill?
Green Iron Bridge.
Green Iron Bridge.
Oh, yeah, okay.
There is one.
There's a stop sign coming off that bridge?
Yeah, there's always been one there.
Okay. Well,
Unless somebody took it down recently.
yeah, right.
I,
But there's a lot of signage that is low. It's like not at the right height, or it's not the right size. So those things have to be addressed. They were also very concerned about the curve coming around by that bridge. It was mentioned in the report to widen it, and the concern is that they don't want to see it widened for the traffic, but maybe widened to allow more pedestrian, walkway, pathway.
there's no place to widen it there. It's just,
Yeah, it's an embankment.
There's a wall too, right?
yeah.
There's a
right.
wall on the one side, yeah.
Actually, I think there's one on the other side and part of it.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I think we brought up recently the fact that the village of Newfane should be included in this also, like the fourth part. You have Williamsville, South Newfane, Brookside.
Yeah, it should be all the villages,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think right now, there's a group of people that are very concerned with the traffic, and they want to use, Waynesville and South Newfane and Brookline as villages. They don't want to be living on a Route 30 corridor, and they want to have a more of a community atmosphere. They want to be able to walk to the post office. They want to be able to
No,
walk.
I understand that.
to
I'm just
either-
saying that you yourself live on
The
Route
ones
30.
who live
Remember
there,
you
they're all-
said
they're there.
Yeah.
you were actually
They're
fighting
there.
to have this. So if we could just, in writing, add the village of
Oh, yeah.
Newfane into this,
Yeah.
because.
And the village, the village of Newfane, and not just the village, but even outside the village,
Yeah.
signage,
Yeah.
that we can write a grant to get some of this community development for Newfane, and will enhance, you know, our lives here. You know, we would have a little bit more of a community feel versus it just as a pass-through town, you know, and people could stop and, you know, see it as a village. I think years ago it was more like the town, the Newfane village was more of a center and more tourism. There were buses, there were shops, and you know, to slow down the traffic along Route 30 is also important. Yeah.
Jay, just while we're talking about this, I just wanted to say, and Chris, I forgot to mention that somebody approached me recently at the post office and asked me to ask you about the possibility of having a sign on the West Wardsboro Road, the part that's closer to Newfane, because there are some young people there who need extra help in dealing with traffic, and they also live right on that road. So you
mean the radar sign?
radar sign or some kind of sign that, because the cars go very fast.
Oh,
down
yeah.
South
We've
Wardsboro.
got a bracket on the one around the corner from our mayor's. That speed limit sign there, and we've had it
And
here.
up further.
Up further than that.
Yeah, oh
further.
yeah, I mean, we're talking up into Wardsboro Road.
Yeah, but I'm
South Wardsboro.
talking at the beginning of going up. You know where Steve Morse lives and that whole area? Up along that part of the road. I was stopped by an older gentleman and asked, because he has a lot of concerns about the speed there, so.
Well, I think, you know, I don't know, can we do a study for even South Wardsboro Road?
That would be enough. I mean, that was a fairly expensive study they did for us. It was what, 12 okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you just get them for
That was
small
because
section.
it was pass through,
major, right.
yeah, roadway, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very dangerous up on South Wardsboro Road. I don't know how the other roads are, like up in Tinson, where you live, and
It hasn't changed. I mean, people are always gone too fast. It's nothing new. I mean,
yeah.
there's just a certain drivers have always been that way.
And I've also heard that there's locals that are, you know, doing it, and they admit to it. So, you know.
That's in Williamsville, basically. No, I'm serious.
I'm not saying
I
that.
won't mention any names, but and most of them have been picked up for speeding in there too.
Let's say it's a mix of people from all populations.
Yeah, we're all
We're all responsible for each
responsible for
other.
it, yeah.
Okay, well, Shelley, thank you for going to that meeting and thank you for reporting
Yes.
as to what they said. And we'll
I
follow.
apologize, it was late, but I was sick and I forgot what the timing was.
It's
So,
okay. glad
I'm here
you're
now.
Yes, be here now. Okay. Any further discussion, Jay?
Those folks did wanted to have a meeting with us.
Yeah.
Should that be a special meeting? It might be longer than what you want to fit into a selectmen's meeting.
Oh, to have a special meeting with this group?
To go over some of this stuff.
Well, at this point, can we wait till after
Yeah.
town meeting day?
You're gonna have to. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I think if we work with the Wyndham Regional Commission, I mean, they've done a lot of work. And if we could just work with them and find some grants that we can do by the town, I think there will be more progression with it if we have some grants. Grants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. What is next on the agenda? Correspondence. Right here.
Yeah, that's not gonna help.
Well, Okay, correspondence. We do have, where is that letter? One second. Shannon, you were going to bring this up, and then I could read what he wrote. You said you would bring it up in your report.
No, I'll just explain it.
Okay.
I was contacted by someone who's interested in purchasing the flea market property for the purpose of putting in a solar field. In order to get approval from the state for that, the select board would need to name it as a preferred site, and only the select board could name it as a preferred site. So he was going to come today and discuss what he needed from you, but he has the flu, so thankfully he's not coming here. But he did send an email just sort of outlining some of the details.
We should table that till he can come.
So he'll be here on the 18th of March.
Now, who's that, the owner or the solar field guy?
I'm not sure if he's somebody that wants to buy the property or if he owns the solar company. It wasn't really clear to me.
Not the owners of the property, though.
No, somebody who's interested in purchasing it.
Okay, well, Chris just suggested that we should table it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. There really isn't anything you can do without him here anyway.
I'm sorry, Mom.
There's nothing you can really
Right.
vote on without him here anyway, so.
Is that the solar field over at the old dome?
No, it's somebody that's interested in purchasing the flea market
Oh,
for the purpose of putting in a solar field.
oh,
So, but the select board would have to designate it a preferred site for him to get permitting.
I see.
And there's reasons you would want to, and there's reasons why you wouldn't want to, but until
Does
he's
that take
here.
it off the tax map?
Yeah, I mean, it would probably help taxes.
Does it
On
help
the other
taxes?
hand, it would be a direct, you
I
know,
thought
competitor
they took
to
it off.
ours.
That'll be a
Yeah, I don't know what it
problem.
would look like sitting there on the corner.
Plus, it's right on the
They
road
took
and
it
it's
off.
visible.
I could see it more as a housing option.
Well, I think we should
So,
wait
That's my thought.
till he comes.
so without him here, really,
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
it, there isn't much
When we
to do
wait
about
till
it.
he
Something's
comes.
got to
Oh, yeah.
look into
Yeah.
that.
Okay,
So,
so this is for, his name is Kurt Mayland.
yeah.
And so Kurt, we're asking if you can come on our next select board meeting on March 18th. And if you're available to come that night, you can explain what your wishes and desires are and hopes, and then we can respond to you then. Thank you. Okay, so we are done. We are now about to do pay orders, and, 1 second, please. So I'm just going to remind everybody at home again that we have our annual town meeting on Tuesday, March 5th, 9 a.m. at the Williamsville Hall. That is where the town meeting will be this year. And we're hoping that as many residents can come as possible. It's a very important day for all the towns in Vermont, and hopefully we'll see you then. Thank you and have a good evening.